Hello, I'm William Osman. Welcome to this episode of the Safety Third podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about we're going to talk about things. We have today, it's me, William Osman, Alan Pan in the same room with me. Is that funny that the past, 3 podcasts, there's been someone in the same room as me? It's just coincidence.
I guess it's a little funny. I don't know.
Because Alan and I signed up for, I didn't sign up. My friends signed me up, and then I was like, Alan, do you want to do it? Soccer, adult soccer.
We're going to play soccer, and it's going to be real bad. Which is like the entire
When's the last time you guys played any sports?
There's also NileRed and Kevin, the backdoor scientist. Okay, so the last time we played any sports? That is a great question.
When's the last time you did any exercise?
My memory is not that good.
Recently, actually, but not like coordinated team exercise.
Until like a week ago, mine was like probably like a year.
Jesus,
I believe it. I believe that. I believe you.
Do you not even like just like go for a walk?
This is one of those things where it's like something you shouldn't brag about, but like I haven't read a book in like 10 years. And I feel good. I feel okay saying that because Nigel just admitted to having never exercised.
No.
What?
Oh, I meant I can't exercise.
Read.
I moved. You know, like I
forgot how to read.
Stuff, if that counts.
I will donate $750,000 to a charity of your choice if you can read one page out of a Harry Potter book of your choosing.
There's more N-words in that than you let out. That's one of the funniest clips I think I've ever seen in my life. Do you know what he's talking about?
I have no idea.
The 50 Cent Floyd Mayweather call out where 50 Cent is like, he's like, Mayweather can't read. And then he says he'll donate like $250,000 to charity if he can record himself reading a single page from a Harry Potter book.
And then later, I think
only vaguely remember that.
He updates the challenge later so that it's like a single Dr. Seuss book. And there was never any response.
It's so raw because he's like accusing him of something that's like really embarrassing.
Can't even read.
If you have how many millions of dollars would you trade your ability to read for though? I don't think I would like.
No.
I think it'd be pretty low. I would do it for like $5 million. Deal with the devil. I would sell my ability to read for $5 million.
So okay,
where's the downside?
No, okay, let me tell you how the problem with what you've just said is like such a thing that exists already.
Oh
is like
God,
the younger you are, the more likely you are to take that deal. So like a kid would be like, yeah, I don't need to read. Like you have to force kids to be in school for their own good because like no kid wants to grow up and be the person that can't read, but they also don't want to learn to read. You have to force them to read stuff. So like I feel like the older you get, the more likely you'll be like willing to just not have $5 million and know how to read. And when you're a kid, you don't care.
I liked reading when I was a kid. Like I enjoyed it.
Okay, what does reading mean? Like you can't go to the grocery store and figure out which can of beans you want?
I think it's if 50 Cent challenges you to read a page out of Harry Potter, you are not able to do it. So like you might probably still be able to like, look at like road signs. You probably recognize like a stop sign. Kevin, $10 million.
But just the shame of getting called out by 50 Cent is like, that's the downside.
Kevin, $10 million. Would you sell your ability to read?
No.
I don't think so. I think there's like, that's one of those monkey paw ones. Like you trade the ability to read it and then all of a sudden like I don't know.
You get all your money pants. And you can no longer recognize the denomination on the bills.
Just imagine
exactly.
like you want to go somewhere, you want to travel somewhere. How do you even travel somewhere?
I think you don't realize how important reading is if you actually think about the things that you can't do if you don't have it. You can't go on even social media at all. You don't like if you're.
That's not a downside. That's not.
No,
but
I'm saying like you can't really. There's a lot of things you can't
Alan's voice is
do
so loud.
in general. By going on social media, I meant that as like a mundane task or a mundane like little activity, and you can't even do that.
Will, when you went to
Japan, you can't travel.
Yeah. Oh, dude, being in Japan.
It's like you can't read, but you can still like know what you can still do stuff.
But
but there's also English in Japan.
There is, but there kind of isn't. Like
and also you can hold your phone up and it translates the picture.
7-Eleven was like the oasis in a desert, where it's like you see the 7 and like the orange, the red, and the green is the colors of it. And in Japan, it's like you see those colors, and you know that you're going to like be able to accomplish.
I'm home.
Yeah, you're like you can buy a snack. You know the food's gonna be good.
The food is so much better though in Japanese 7-Elevens.
So much better.
They have like it's like a legitimately good place to get food. Do
you want to hear like the problem like when we first showed up to Japan? So we fly in, you know, it's a long ass flight, and there was really bad turbulence when we were trying to land, so they had to keep circling for like another 30 minutes for weather delay. But like Chelsea almost threw up in the plane, like it was really bad.
Ooh, that's bad.
And then we get down, we like Uber to this hotel. The hotel, everyone speaks English, so like that was fine. And then we're like, okay, we're in Japan, and we're hungry. Like, let's go eat something. So we go outside the hotel and like walk, you know, like a couple hundred feet, and there's this like, you know, what's the noodle place? Like
yakisoba
or whatever. And we're like, all right, cool, noodle place. Like this looks like there's some like spin-off of that here in the States, and no English, nothing is English. What?
Yeah, did you have to order from a vending machine?
No, we did some of that. That's actually what we ended up doing. But what I'm getting at is that I was like trying to like look through this menu, and you can only use pictures. Yeah. And I'm like, Chelsea doesn't eat like beef or pork. She'll eat, you know, chicken and fish and stuff, but no like red meat. And I could not. I'm like, I don't see chicken on the menu. I'm like, where's the chicken? Where's the chicken? So then I like finally after a couple minutes, I'm like, you know, this is the first time I've ever been in Japan. First time I've ever been in a country that like really doesn't speak English. And I'm like looking at one of the waiters. I'm like, chicken? I just said chicken. Chicken? Because I'm not gonna say, do you have chicken?
Well, I was gonna say
because it's like too complicated.
The danger.
Chicken.
If you ask if something has chicken in it, they might. And you don't want it, they'll probably give it to you.
Right. Well, I say we didn't have that problem because they were just like no chicken or
no
whatever.
Chicken.
They were just like chicken, no. And then we walked down the street and found one of those the ones where you don't talk to anybody and you just click the button on the machine.
That's what saved you.
Yeah, and you go up and you submit the ticket. All the machine does is like prints out a ticket and you go submit it, and then they make it and like bring it out to you.
Dude, I think when I was in Japan, my Japan story is like I'm a huge weeb. So I watch a lot of anime naturally. And so like I have like I like at least know like not like enough Japanese to be super useful, but enough to like not be completely like out in the ocean.
You actually know some Japanese?
Just basically like what you hear.
How do you say help? I'm starving and have.
Tasukide, fuck, how do you say I'm hungry?
Yeah, we're gonna die.
That's about it.
We're gonna die.
So
arigato.
Thank you, we're gonna die. We die
show
now.
them your bones, like your skin shriveling around your bones.
But
arigato.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this jacket. This is what I wore in preparation for soccer.
Wearing? Oh,
Look at this. I'm trying to even out. Do you guys have awful farmer's tans?
Oh, mine's for senores.
Yeah, so I'm trying to even it out. Anyways, that has nothing to do with anything. But so what happened was I was trying to ask a waitress like what her favorite thing on the menu was.
Oh no.
Yeah, because and that's like a complicated thing, right? But the thing is, Japanese, it's like it can be a very like sort of abstract language. Like there's a lot of things where if you say something in Japanese, it only works in certain contexts because the words themselves are very vague. And so unfortunately, what I said was I pointed.
You're like, I like your breasts.
Well, so I pointed at the menu and I said "suki desu," which like the straight translation, direct translation is just like this. So what I was trying to communicate was like which of these do you like, right? But I couldn't say that, so I said "suki desu," and I figured out. She didn't make a fuss.
I was just joking, but is it really close to
what
what
I
said?
figured out later was if you like look at someone, you say "suki desu," that's basically saying "I love you."
Wow.
But I think because she knew that I was just like a fuck up and I was pointing at the menu when I was saying it, I think she totally understood what I was going for. But in the moment, I literally looked at my weight. Like imagine like a Japanese person walking into a McDonald's.
I love you.
Yeah, and then they like point at like a Big Mac and they go, "I love you."
That would actually kind of make sense. You're like, professing your love to the burger, like, I love you to a Big Mac.
I wouldn't even be mad though. I think that was funny.
Yeah, if you were at the McDonald's.
like it'd be so obvious that it was just a horrible Japanese.
So I think that was my saving grace was like just the understanding, but like the what I actually
Is
said.
there like an uncanny valley of like language where you're good enough where you can get yourself into a situation where they don't think that you should be that bad? Where you know what I'm saying?
I think I probably run into that all the time, like being Chinese, because I cannot speak Mandarin. Like the tones are just, I can't do the tones. So if I'm like ever in China, the problem is like I people just assume that I know what I'm doing and that I can like talk, and then like just talk to me like normal, and then like imagine like if you were in Ventura and you like, you know, you bump into like some white dude on the street and you're like trying to say something to him, and then all of a sudden he's just saying things in Mandarin and he tries to talk to you in English and it's like really broken. And you're like, is this guy doing a bit?
Right.
Like that's like me being in China. And so that kind of gets me into trouble because I'm 100% ethnically Chinese.
You look very Chinese.
Yes, but I cannot speak Mandarin. And so that I think is like, that's a valley that I know of.
Right.
Is sort of uncanny. I don't know if Nigel, do you like do Japanese stuff?
What does that mean? Do I do
Suki
Japanese
des?
stuff?
Suki des, Nigel-san?
Yes. I don't know what your question means. What's Japanese stuff?
Do you do Japanese like anime
Like-
and sword fighting,
Yeah.
And-
And Sudoku.
Sudoku?
I mean, I used to do Sudoku. I eat rice.
Oh, that's Japanese. That's super Japanese.
But I
rice
eat.
eater.
So my mom, when we
I
grew
eat
up, my
rice
mom would
sometimes,
make
too.
Japanese sticky rice for every meal. It almost doesn't even matter what we're eating.
I mean, yeah, it's a very, I think it goes with everything.
Yeah, so it's like I have it. I mean, that's something I guess Japanese. We have teriyaki.
So basically,
Teriyaki.
the only thing that you do that's Japanese is just some of your genetics is
Like no
Japanese.
cultural, like no holidays or anything.
What's
don't
a
know.
Japanese holiday?
Oh,
This is- I mean,
Japanese.
I
I think that answers the question.
Japanese. I think it's Japanese. Christmas is like heavily KFC.
Yeah, but that's because they don't know what
inspired.
Christmas is.
Well,
think
yeah,
that's-
because there
I
was-
think that's just.
No, I feel like they might
Christmas
actually know what
in
Christmas is,
Japan.
and we're the ones doing it wrong because KFC for Christmas sounds pretty odd.
Well, it was because like when there was like this introduction to like this idea of like the Western Christmas to Japan, like KFC was one of the first companies that realized it was like, oh, this is
It's such an
potentially-
abomination, though.
They were like, this could be
makes
our
no
Coca-Cola
sense.
moment. Like, you know how Santa Claus wears red and white because of Coca-Cola? They were like, wait,
Really?
this is like an entire... Yeah. That's St. Nicholas used to wear like blue. But then there was a Coca-Cola Christmas campaign where
Saint
they dressed
Nicholas
Santa.
used to wear a human skin suit.
So Coca-Cola like had a Christmas campaign, and it just became so iconic that Santa now wears red and white, but it originated from Coca-Cola.
Okay, first you like had a whole bunch of koala facts, and now there's like Saint Nicholas, Coca-Cola.
Well,
Where-
because
where
we're
are
bringing up
you-
the whole reason Japanese Christmas is like all
No,
about
I'm
KFC
asking where
is because
where
they
you
did
get
that.
all of these fun facts from.
Exclusively from the bottom of Snapple caps. You just open up Snapple bottles and there's the entire world history.
You know,
on the
I
bottom
read
of those.
This
the bottom
episode of
a
the
Snapple
podcast
cap
is
once.
corporate takeover.
Brought to you by Snapple. I personally, I don't think Snapple is that good. I don't really like any of the artificial iced teas.
Well, there goes our Snapple sponsorship.
And the juices.
Rest in
I don't know.
peace.
Am I wrong? I feel like I used to like Snapple when it was in a glass bottle, but like I just like glass bottles, and the instant it was plastic. I don't know. I just
Why
never
did
really
they
liked
switch
Snapple.
to
They all have the
plastic?
same taste.
I could not tell you, like, I don't know if I'd recognize, if you gave me a blind taste test of just all the different, like, sweet teas, I don't think I'd be able to tell any of them
There's like
apart.
this almost
I
like
could tell the
acidic
difference.
sweet, like kind of like this acidic
Bullshit,
sweet that I really
Nigel.
don't like. He probably
Yeah, it
can't.
is. It's like
I used to drink-
dry.
Dude,
yeah, it's like it's like a dry sour sweet, and
When
I
I
don't
was-
like it.
when I was 18, I drank 4 liters of iced tea a day.
I feel like Nigel, of all of us, Nigel probably has the worst diet. It's actually tied between Nigel and Peter, I think, for worst diet.
Was there
No,
a
my-
reason why?
Was
Sorry?
it sweet tea or unsweetened? Sweetened or unsweetened?
Oh my
it,
god,
It has to be sweet.
You're
It
not
has
gonna
to be
drink
sweet.
that much unsweetened tea.
Oh my God!
No.
Why? That is so much
I-
sugar, Nigel. That's literally like cups of sugar that you're
I
just
quit out of
ingesting.
fear of diabetes.
That's
yeah.
when you
Or
switched
maybe-
to chocolate milk, right?
What
Sorry?
fear?
Was the chocolate milk before or after the tea? Was
you
it you
tell-
that had the
tell
thing
the
with
chocolate-
I think
chocolate milk?
it-
Yeah, yes, it was. That's
I
why I
think
didn't
it
say
was
anything. He's embarrassed. Tell the story.
completely,
Tell the story. Tell the story. Tell the story.
I don't know
chocolate milk, chocolate milk, chocolate milk,
So
chocolate milk,
it's
chocolate milk.
so long ago that I don't truly remember the story.
Oh my, Nigel, you
No, I'll
blocked
tell
out
it.
so many
You
of
do
these
this all the
traumatic
time.
events in your
I know.
childhood.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All of my memories
you
are
told to
faded.
us like it was like
And they're
clear
like,
as
oh yeah,
day.
that time I almost killed myself in the lab.
I think all the chemicals are just making me forget, or I don't know. Maybe it's for the better.
That's what Peter keeps saying about his allergy medication. He's like, it'll mess my memory. I'm like, bro, your memory is already
No,
gone.
so I don't remember why. I drank chocolate milk and I liked it. Okay, I've always liked chocolate milk, and then
Fair.
Chocolate looks great.
Yeah.
but then there was a sale, so I kept buying it.
sale.
And at the time I was trying to gain weight. Is this the story you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you remember why you were trying to gain weight?
Were you
Did
underweight?
your doctor say something, or you just wanted to gain weight?
No, I
thought it'd be
was
funny to be
self-conscious
fat?
about my low body weight.
I think we all go through that phase.
So I read online
me.
about
The
the
opposite.
GOMAD diet. Have you heard of that?
No.
No.
Mad?
So it stands for gallon of milk a day.
No, that cannot be real.
So
you
no,
cannot
so
be serious right
it's kind
now.
of a meme, but it's on like body or like on workout forums. When people complain they can't gain weight, they always just respond. A lot of people respond with one word, just GOMAD.
Okay, but were
'Cause
you
it's like
working
so-
out when you were
It's-
doing
no,
this,
it's-
or
I
were
think
you
it's
just
more.
No
drinking
way. There was
chocolate
no
milk?
way he was
It's
working out.
3,000 plus calories, I think, and it's just like.
Oh, for
you
the chocolate
can't-
milk, probably.
But you have to drink the milk plus have your regular meals. It's
Yeah, plus
impossible
work
to not
out.
gain weight.
Like you're supposed to also be
No,
like
but
building
it's the people.
muscle.
It's the people who claim they've been working out for a year and they have no weight gain. So and they go, oh, I can't gain weight. I'm just my metabolism's too fast. So people tell them, well, how about drink a gallon of milk a day and see if your metabolism's too fast.
And also exercise.
I did. So I
did?
tried it.
Oh my God.
And I could never gain weight, but I can attest that it worked. And then
Did
I
you get really
recommended it to
fat?
my friend.
Because you weren't working
And
out.
he also gained weight.
Got-
He gained like 30 pounds or something. I don't know.
You see what he
Wow.
says? Gaining weight. He
Also
says it in a way where it's like you
gained
got
weight.
fat instead of
Oh
buff.
no, you get fat for sure. I noticed it because when you'd be on the subway, I remember sitting there one day and I would
And I realized I was taking up
No.
two seats.
I was sitting there, and as the subway kind of went through on the tracks and it would shake, I remember feeling
your
my
butt,
body
you could
shake,
feel your
and I was like, "That's weird. I've never felt that before."
damn, Nigel's dummy thick. Every time the train hit
So,
a bump or hit a transition,
the
the clap
time-
of his cheeks
My scale, those little thin
sounded like a
batteries,
gunshot. Boom!
like the tiny button ones.
the tiny button ones. My scale ran out of batteries, so I didn't know how much weight I was gaining.
Oh
So
my God.
I went, and after I felt that, I got off the subway and I went to the dollar store and got a little battery. And when I went home and I put it in the scale, it was a month prior. I'd weighed myself and I was 100, I think, and like 38 or something. So it was like 3 or 4 weeks later, I weighed myself again. And guess how much I weighed?
200 pounds.
150.
Yeah, I was 159 or something.
Jesus.
So-
Wow, 20 pounds in a month.
I gained 20 pounds in a month, and so it happened.
How
what
did
was
you not
funnier was
realize that?
I just
20 pounds is huge.
It's a
dude.
lot. So I got shocked, and then I looked in the mirror, and I realized I don't know. It's like I looked in the mirror, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm fat.
But that was
I
what you
realized,
wanted, right?
I
Nigel, I
realized
have a question.
how my
How
face
do
had
you-
become fat.
How do you function as an adult?
I wasn't an
realize that you
adult. I
gained-
was 17 at the
Until he
time.
weighed himself.
How do you
I-
not realize you've gained 20 pounds?
I was
until you put
17.
batteries
I
in your
don't
scale?
know. I don't know. I don't look in the mirror very often.
Oh my! So
I
was
only,
that your
I
end
only
goal,
see
though?
myself naked once a month.
Did you accomplish the goal that you set out when you like gained
I-
those? Like that was what you're trying to do.
I never lost the weight. I just worked out and I just I lost the fat. So the trick was
traded for
to
muscle.
gain weight, you drink chocolate milk. To lose weight, you stop drinking chocolate milk. And I just kept working out and I never really lost the weight, but I lost the fat.
Crazy
Huh.
what
So you, like,
taking
you, like,
2,500
muscle
calories out of your
recomp.
diet will do.
Bone
Nigel.
density. He increases
It says-
bone density while burning the fat.
Yeah, it's the calcium, the calcium from the milk.
Oh,
making
it
bones.
permanently messes up your insides too. So I don't know if I recommend drinking it. It made it
what's
so I
wrong with
couldn't
your
drink
inside?
chocolate milk for I think 10 years.
I don't think that's because your insides
think
are
it
messed
de-
up. I think it was because you couldn't stand chocolate milk
I know. I
anymore.
think you
Yeah.
actually
Gallon a
develop
day.
an allergy
You could be-
or an immune response
you
to
could,
it.
I think you could literally make yourself lactose intolerant by drinking too much milk.
And my friend did it. He wanted to gain weight. He was also 130 something or 140. He drank chocolate milk and worked out, and I think he went to like 170. But after that, he's like, he can't drink chocolate milk anymore. Oh, and actually, sorry, the reason that I had so much chocolate milk was because I wanted to do the GOMAD, but it was more just because the chocolate milk was on sale and I bought way too much.
Wait,
So I had to go through it.
So you bought like multiple gallons of chocolate milk because
I
it was
bought
on
30
sale.
liters in one trip.
Wait, were they in bags?
No, they were just in like cartons of 1 liter.
Okay.
They have cartons in Canada?
I have a
They
photo
only
of
have
it.
bag milks.
I have a photo
8 gallons?
of it. I mean, it's not an interesting photo. But what I used to do was I would wake up, and this is like the part that it said you'd judge me.
Take a
I
shit.
would jump
and
in
then
the
you'd get out of
shower,
bed.
and I would drink the chocolate milk in like 30 seconds.
No.
What?
Why?
I didn't
That's
have
8
time to get
gallons.
ready in the morning, so I would drink the chocolate milk while like the shower. While I was warming
What?
up for 30
No,
seconds.
Nigel, you are a completely different person than how you come off
Wow.
in your videos. Can I just say that right now?
Alan,
Oh,
this was
dude,
this was when I was
insane.
Tom
17.
Stanton's like
My
that
brain
too.
wasn't fully formed.
Yeah, but
In
like
Nigel's videos, everyone thinks he's like this, like, you know, the utmost professional, but in real
in real
life.
life, it smash cuts to him in a shower drinking directly out of a
Yeah.
gallon of chocolate
You
milk.
ever seen a car driving down the street with like the mufflers dragging on the ground? That's
But
Nigel.
I never felt bad, but during
And
the
then, like,
whole
it makes a scraping noise, but he just keeps ignoring it.
during the whole COVID lockdown, I got back into chocolate milk, and it made me a bit. It made me a bit
You mean
fat.
chocolate milk got back into you? Show us a picture. How fat have you
Like this
gotten?
whole time, your
don't
one
have a
saving
photo
grace.
of
You're
it.
like, oh, I was 17, my brain wasn't
No.
fully developed. You're like, oh, but by the way, this last year I got back into chocolate milk.
Because Alan, it took literally. After that, I could not drink chocolate milk for 12 years because it upset my stomach.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any of my like bad eating habits, and none of them come even close to like 3 liters of chocolate milk a day.
I admit
Like,
it was bad, but I had a goal to gain weight. It wasn't just frivolous. It wasn't.
And you did it. You really did it.
Have you guys
Nigel.
ever heard of the subreddit called Shower Orange? It's just people eating oranges in the shower.
I have
There's
never
also
sounds
shower
like,
beer.
like a fetish.
But it's not
How did
safe
you
for
find
work.
this,
Don't go
Kevin? Oh, don't.
What?
Wait, what?
Shower
Well, now I want to go
orange.
there.
Well, because it's just gonna be a lot of naked bodies, probably.
But
Yeah,
why do
shower
people-
beer is naked people. But shower orange
Okay.
is just like you eat an orange when you're in the shower, so you can just like really just go at the orange.
Well,
and
we're
just make a
looking it
huge
up
mess.
right
It's like it's like a really primitive
the
thing,
day.
right? You can just like murder this orange in your
Oh,
shower.
actually, no. So far, there isn't anything that's not
It's
safe. for
literally
work.
just oranges in showers. It's like not even people in the pictures half the time.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. There's a. Oh, even that's like tasteful. That's like a
It's the guy
tasteful
who's, like,
hidden
covering up
nudity.
he's covering up his wiener with
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
like a
like
perspective
lemons,
thing.
actually.
So
He's
here's
holding
what
up
I'm
his
saying.
Can't you just
oranges,
wash
covering
your
up his
hands?
junk.
There isn't a shower milk yet, so I think you just started something, Nigel.
I can't drink milk
no.
anymore, though.
If you're
So-
if whoever's listening to this, make shower milk subreddit and
No,
make
please don't. No, don't encourage this, Kevin. Don't.
I can't
30
drink milk
days of
anymore,
shower
though.
milk.
For the record, I'm off
You
again.
can't drink what?
Completely
You're off the-
milk.
You're
Off chocolate
cold
milk?
turkey.
You're off the milk.
I'm off the milk.
Well, Nigel, I'm very proud of you when you get your 6-month coin.
No, I went 12 years without it, and then I relapsed.
Oh God. Oh, that's sad.
And then I
I'm
gained.
thinking of the highlight clip of NileRed's relapse story. It's about chocolate milk.
Yeah. I mean,
All right, Kevin. This question. It's not really a question. I have your socks. You left them at the hotel room.
Oh man.
How
Take
did you
good
leave
care
your
of
socks at
them
the
for
hotel
me.
room? I'm gonna bring them back. I was thinking of mailing them to you, taking your socks and putting them in like a flat rate, or no, just a regular envelope with a stamp. But I have both socks. So I have to use like 2 envelopes.
I think no, with the socks, I think if you put the postage directly on the socks, they might just.
do you
send
want to?
them.
Do you want to hear what Kevin did this weekend?
What did Kevin do this weekend?
He left his wallet at the hotel. We had to drive all the way across Massachusetts, and he left his wallet at the hotel.
This is not surprising to me in the least, though. Like that
It
is
was-
exactly. That's like exactly what Kevin would do.
We're like halfway.
It's because
It's because
Will rushed me. He's like, we gotta
No,
go
I
now,
didn't
now, now.
rush you.
but wait,
Yeah,
why were
you rushed
why were
me.
you guys in Massachusetts?
We became oyster farmers.
But so wait, Kevin was at your house,
Yes.
and then how did you end up on the other end of the country?
Flew.
Oh my, it's a long
It's a long story.
Hopped on a
So
train.
like,
Because I was
we were
very
supposed to be there.
unclear how any of
I
this
was going to
happened.
Massachusetts for a wedding.
So was I.
Oh.
Nigel.
Like
okay.
a week prior, I had gotten like an email from a guy named Mike who offered to send me oysters because I complained about it. We did a bespoke sponsorship, and remember how Peter got the oysters for his, but they couldn't ship them to me because they didn't have like you gotta like overnight them or whatever. And who knows? There's like for whatever reason they didn't want to ship. They like won't ship them to the West Coast. So this guy was like, oh, like I'll ship you oysters. Like I have an oyster farm, and I'm like, oh wow, oh my god, it's in Massachusetts. I'm gonna be in Massachusetts. So I was like, we should go become oyster farmers. And then basically everything just lined up, and I was like, Kevin, you want to go with me because I'm gonna need help. And then Kevin was like,
I'm
okay,
like, why
because he was
not?
at my house. He was here, and so we changed his flights, which was a whole nightmare. Changing
Oh, it
flights
was a
such
nightmare.
We ended up just buying new flights and had to scrapping them. Like you throw like hundreds of dollars down the drain.
It takes
Can we do
a lot of
a reverse
sacrifice to become
sponsorship
an
for
oyster
Delta right
Exactly.
now?
Yes, this is a reverse. No, all the airlines are like this, so it's bad. And so Kevin flew out, and then we landed on the west coast of Massachusetts, so like the far end, inside of the state, the rural part.
Okay.
And then we drove all the way across to do the oyster farming because the wedding was on the
Plymouth.
inland.
Where it all started,
it's
baby.
All in Plymouth, yeah. And they apparently there's like there's the Mayflower 2. They like rebuilt the Mayflower and they called it the Mayflower 2. And
Wait, why?
because it's tourist trap.
Okay.
But the oyster farm, part of the farm is like literally next, like under the bow of the boat.
I didn't know if they
Yeah.
were trying to like make another America or something. If they were gonna try.
No, they're trying to scam people out of their money. And so we drove across the state, but Kevin was going to then fly back from Boston because I had to go back to the west side of the state. And so halfway across the state, he's like, I don't have my wallet. Like, are you? That's like the most important thing. The most important
See,
thing you
your
need.
mistake was I would have just assumed that he would have forgotten everything.
I know.
You should have just assumed that.
I should just assume that. Okay, when I leave the house, I like touch my pockets.
Yes.
Like I got my phone, my wallet, and then my pocket knife usually.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure at this moment, Kevin, you're probably forgetting something right now.
Wait.
I would bet money that now.
Kevin,
you're
is there a
forgetting
cutting
something.
board on your stove?
Oh man, you give me anxiety. It was your fault I lost the wallet, and it was your fault
Wait,
I
how do we
almost
turn-
burned my house down.
You turned on your stove
Yeah.
just to turn it on. Like at that point, you didn't have any food ready. You
No,
didn't
I was
have,
making
like, a
noodles.
pot.
I was
Where
doing
were the
noodles, and I had a
noodles?
pot.
Where was the
The
pot?
pot. The pot was on the other stove. In my defense, it's really confusing. You have all these.
Oh, I see. So you turned the wrong stove on.
I did, yeah.
So you had a pot of, and it was on the stove, but not on the one that you turned on. And the cutting board was the one on the one that you turned on.
Yes.
Okay, that is still hilarious.
How long have you had this stove for?
How long have I had the cutting board for? Not very long, because Sandra burned the other one.
Wait,
Yeah,
Kevin,
confusing.
I have a solution for you. Have you ever actually used more than one of those stoves at the same time?
Burner.
Yeah, the
Rarely.
burners on your stove.
Kevin's not rich enough to have multiple
I would just disconnect all of them except for one, and then that just becomes your burner. I got a haircut, and ever since then, I've been getting comments on like on Instagram that I look like you now.
you
Do you see that?
you
'Cause you're
stole
both
my
Asian.
haircut.
Do you see that? Is this
Nigel,
the Nigel? Am I
don't
pulling
take
it
this the
off?
wrong way, but you're way more pale than Alan.
Yeah.
I need the glasses. That's all I need.
Yeah.
Then
you
I
could-
can
you
be
could
just like
be
Nigel.
Me.
And then I could drink a gallon of milk a day.
Not anymore though. I had to stop.
Woo! That's right. Sorry,
like that?
oysters. What does an oyster farmer do? Is there like a field?
Dude,
Is there like
it's so
It's-
like labor intensive. We were basically there for like exactly 24 hours. Like exactly. Like we got there midday, like maybe 3
Yeah.
p.m.
Uh-huh.
And we left. I left at like 1. Oh my God, Kevin, we were there for less than 24 hours.
I know. It was like so fast paced. We went to bed at like midnight, 2 o'clock.
We slept at their house. They let us stay at their
Yeah.
house. They
was
were
it like
super
a
cool.
did you actually help them like
Yeah, well,
harvest
kinda. We definitely
oysters?
slowed them down.
Will
Oh, yeah,
helped
the
more
filming.
than I did. I was filming a little bit, but Will was like
Yeah.
actually doing everything.
So
Like-
there's like 3 or 4 parts. Like they take these like baby oysters, like tiny little oysters. They're like super small. Like,
Uh-huh.
it looks like quinoa.
Yeah.
Quinoa.
And then
That small? Wow.
They're super small, and they put them into like this tank that's like in the ocean, like in a harbor. so they can like control it really tightly, and they let them grow to be a little bit bigger. And then once they're like, maybe like the size of your pinky nail or something, or maybe a little bit smaller, they put them into mesh bags, and they take those mesh bags and move them into their they're like plot of land in the middle of the ocean, because the bay is like super shallow. It's like 10 feet at high tide, or maybe even less than that. And at low tide, you can walk around.
Yeah.
But there's parts that are completely exposed too at low tide.
And the oysters are just like, they're just free floating in these mesh bags.
Well, yeah, so they keep them in the mesh bag, so they're like locked on land, basically, or in the water on land, but it's like, said shallow. And then they get bigger, and they move them into different mesh bags, and when they get bigger, then they just straight up dump them on the sea floor. And then once they're big enough, they like rake them up, and then collect them, and they harvest them that way.
Something like we didn't get to see you do that part, but
so you didn't like have to like wade out in the water with a giant oyster rake.
Oh, we did.
Oh, you did.
No, we didn't go with the rake, but we were basically dumping the bags.
We were like planting
into
the
water.
oysters.
Yeah, we were planting the oysters, and then they had like these like kind of milk crates that they had like previously done some sorting, or I don't really know exactly what the deal was, but I think it was from like a previous day, and so they had these crates filled with just oysters that were still just sitting in the water, and you would just pull them out and pick.
And you had to sort through the dead ones. That,
right.
Oh.
We were just eating oysters literally right out of the ocean.
I was gonna say.
It was the
greatest thing
like
while
ever.
you were doing that, like were you just like kind of like
actually?
That's awesome.
It was so cool.
So I have to say,
I love a fresh oyster.
I have to say, I think oysters are some of the worst tasting things I've ever had.
No, Nigel.
So when I was in
I would agree with
Japan,
Nigel.
when I was in Japan, they'll I forget which island it was. It was near Hiroshima. People go there and they'll crack an oyster open for you, and I almost threw up. I cannot deal with them.
Dude, you're eating those Hiroshima
when it's
oysters. These
fresh,
are some nice
good
oysters.
I just
like it's briny. It's
seafood just tastes really. I don't like all seafood almost.
You are not Japanese, are you?
No, see that's the part where I diverge.
I'm more Japanese.
Chocolate
than
milk.
I just
That means Will's a bigger weeaboo than you are. He's got more anime titty pillows than you do.
Nigel's a milk drinking American.
Reject Japanese heritage.
God.
Consume chocolate milk.
No, like I like salmon, tuna. The usual fish. I just don't like.
I mean, like it is a little weird that like ideally you're
tilapia is
eating
good.
oysters. The best oysters, they really should be alive when you're eating them.
They have to.
Yeah.
They have to. If you eat them when they're dead, you're gonna die.
Yeah, so
You're gonna have diarrhea.
Like you crack it open and it has, it's if it could scream, it would be screaming, right? Because you're like breaking its little body open, you're slurping it down.
That's part of my
like,
problem
whole
with
alive.
That's my problem.
But you know what? It tastes great. It tastes great, and they can't scream, so it's okay.
I understand why people wouldn't want to eat them. I think it's a texture thing, but like a flavor thing, like they actually taste good, and they're nice and salty. The texture, I totally understand.
So that's
why somebody.
For me, it's mostly
I don't taste them. It's just salt and slime. But
Yeah,
salty slime. What's wrong with that?
You squeeze a lemon on it. You maybe some like Tabasco if you're into that kind of thing.
It was
lemon,
really good with
lemon.
lemon.
Yeah.
Lemon's good.
Yes.
It helps to kind of nip it
So-
a little bit. You like.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean
That's Flavor Town.
because even like shrimp, for example, like if I go with sushi, I order shrimp, and I eat shrimp, but I hate the texture. I like the taste, but I hate the texture.
really,
So I have to chew it really quickly to make it so it doesn't have that texture.
shrimp has a
so
good
you-
texture. It's
you
nice
would-
and firm.
I hate it. I just don't. I find it. I don't know. There's something that I don't like about it.
Have you ever had uni?
That's like eel.
No, it's sea urchin.
yeah.
Oh, the sea urchin. Sorry, yeah.
That might be literally. That's
no.
literally the worst slimy texture.
No,
I haven't
sea
had it.
urchin. Sea urchin.
probably had
good
it, but
sea urchin.
fried.
It's rich. It's rich.
I agree with William.
It's too.
Oh, man.
It's like.
I just
oysters
don't
are
like
tougher
weird
than that way.
textures. That's my problem.
I took pictures. I want to show your mom with it.
I guess I
It's like recording a
much-
podcast. She doesn't care at all. She's like, I'm coming in.
Chelsea's part of the podcast sometimes, sort of. You just kind of wandering in and out.
Art signs I did.
Yeah, see, there she is.
We had a lot of fun though. It was the guys are super cool. They're really young. They're like a little bit younger than us.
Really? And they have
their dad started the farm, but
Oh, okay.
he like they run it now mostly. They do it every single day. So they're both like engineers. One works for Simply Save. He's like a software developer for Simply Save.
So this is like a side
I'm like-
gig.
It's like a side gig. Yeah, it's
I mean-
it's like it's
They're
one
like
of those things where
doing
you
this
just,
to pay their way through college.
right. So,
But
it's
and there's
pretty
a lot
cool.
of money to be made, but you have to like invest it all back into the business, I guess. So it's like
Yeah.
it's I guess.
So there's not a lot of money to be made.
There's not.
Wait, no.
Well,
For
it's
a brief
funny,
period
like,
of
they're
time, there
arguing
is a
about
lot
what's
of
the
money
best
to be
way.
made before you put it back in.
Yeah. It was fun to have because they're both brothers. They're just like arguing with each other,
Like about what's the best way to optimize
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff like
right.
I mean, I think it would be fun to go oystering. I just wouldn't eat any of them.
Aw.
I mean, I would
Oh,
try,
we-
and you'd
we-
just watch me gag. That's what happens every time.
I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like a good
you
video.
would have liked it.
It sounds like it's
Yeah.
going to be a good video.
It will be. It's too much footage though. So
Well, I mean, that's what editing's for, right?
What's your preference? Do you prefer to have like way too much footage to cut down, or do you prefer like not having the shot that you need and
I
just
prefer
sort of
not
making
having
it
enough.
up?
I prefer
You
not
sort of like
having
just
enough.
figure
I
it
like
out.
too much.
No, I think
No, you like
sometimes
too much?
when you lose footage, it sucks, but you're kind of happy because you're like one less thing that you need to look at. You're like, oh, you can just move on. It's like sometimes in the lab, I have glassware I have to clean, and I was thinking about it the other day because that's all I've been doing for like days.
he just throws them in the trash.
Sometimes I drop it and it shatters. And I'm just like kind of happy because I don't have to clean it.
This is really bad. I probably shouldn't say this, but I felt a little bit that way when the house burned down because there was so much there was so much junk
That it just
I
got rid of
couldn't-
it.
I couldn't part with it, but it was just like old projects and stuff. Like we built the mechanical TV, which is like this big wooden piece of crap, and I had just shoved it. Like I can't throw this away.
Yeah.
It kept getting destroyed because I would like move stuff and like kick it, and it was all broken, but I still couldn't throw it away. And it finally is no longer my problem
God
anymore.
threw it out for you.
I mean, I know what you're
threw it.
saying.
God threw
would
it in the
actually
trash
kinda
for me.
That-
Weirdly nice.
That happened to
It
me when we
was,
moved
like-
to my new office. There's a few things that I just literally kept. I bought it like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I never used it and just kept bringing it every time I moved. And then in the move, the movers or somebody broke it. And it was just like, I kind of like, yes, I can finally.
It's a mental illness.
It's
dude.
because
I'm free.
it was too good to throw out, but it was too cheap to sell. Like it wasn't worth selling.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it kind of
right.
just sat there.
And you feel bad. You feel bad throwing stuff away.
Yeah.
It's like
I do. I'm bad. I like
I've
hoard
been
stuff.
getting
We'll
over
saw
that.
How much I have.
I've been training myself over like the
Kevin
last year to
is
just throw
a
things out.
human dumpster. He literally like half the components in his little lab that he's in right now are from PCBs. Like he'll like desolder. Like he said, he
Kevin.
would spend like hours desoldering PCBs.
I found a
Kevin,
better way. Just use a
just-
heat gun, like the 1,000-degree heat
No,
gun.
I have
like,
a
torch
much
the
better
whole thing
way.
and
All
shake
out.
the board.
Kevin,
Just
I have a
throw
way
it out,
better way.
Kevin.
Just buy the
Wow.
pieces when you need them.
No.
Digikey.com.
Okay,
Just-
I'm way too
I've
impatient
been-
for that.
No,
It
I have
delivers
been,
the
like,
next
working on
day,
this.
doesn't it?
You know the cool part about buying stuff is you know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You know the specs, you know the rating.
It's
you know,
pretty great.
I don't know.
Kevin, I think that you should just like Mary Kondo, like learn to like pick up the PCB and be like, oh, thank you PCB for sitting there as an option for me and to act as a resource, but I no longer need you. Thank you for being here, and just throw it in the fucking garbage.
So-
And then spit
No.
on it.
Yeah.
I agree, Alan, but part of my problem is there are many things that I keep, like just odd, weird things that I probably about 80 or 90% of them I end
Here
up
we go.
using.
Chelsea just brought a book about cleaning.
This is Mary Kondo. This
she
is
just
literally the
delivers
book
it. Really?
on
Oh,
cleaning,
no.
on throwing things away.
Oh, that's right. Chelsea
Or
saw my
donating
house,
them,
too.
whatever. But Kevin, just do it. It's not worth it.
I mean,
You know, like donating them is good too because you know that they're gonna throw it away for
But you know what? Okay, so I hate to
Exactly.
say
Give
it
this,
to the
but
Makerspace.
I was very excited. Yeah, so this weekend I went on a walk just to like as a alternative to running because I was like Because
Okay, keep going.
I learned that this is weird. I learned this. Apparently, like the calories burned per mile running versus walking,
It's like
it's
the
about the same. Like the human body is just
Correct.
actually really, really efficient at moving at like very different
just
like
speeds.
per
hurts more
mile.
when you run.
Yeah. So the only difference is like the mile is faster, obviously, if you run, but the energy expenditure is almost the same as walking. So once I learned that, I was like, why the fuck am I running anymore?
You lose like the high like heart pressure.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like, the
but-
stuff that's like
Muscle
Yeah, but just in terms of
Yeah.
energy. So I went on like a long walk, and while I was doing that, I found a makerspace that was like within like 2 miles of where I live. It was like a little kid's makerspace, and my first reaction, absolute first.
you started
I
running.
can give them a
No,
bunch
no,
of crap.
no, no, no. My first, I saw it and I said, oh, I bet I can give them a bunch of my crap.
Dude, that's the the makerspace that I would go to. Like, that was the problem. Is people would bring them like what seemed like cool stuff.
Yeah.
But it needed so much
Yeah.
work and money to
Yes.
get it going that it actually was like it was trash. It was just actually trash.
But guess what? They were 501c3, and so if I give them some like expensive trash, that
Oh,
becomes
this is
a write-off for me.
$10,000
These are a bunch of old PVC pipe fittings, but I signed them all, so now it's worth $500.
Alan, this is a laser cutter you bought for $500 on eBay called the K40.
Right? Like
Hey,
if I had a reason or somebody to give some of this stuff to, I would give it to them. But otherwise, it just sits here. So if anybody wants a bunch of old inductors from PCBs,
Are we doing a
let me know.
giveaway? Are we doing a
He doesn't
podcast
know
giveaway
any of
now?
the specs of those inductors right there.
Yeah. What's the inductance on any of those,
What's
Kevin?
the inductance? If you can give me the inductance of one of those, I'll donate a 300 of what quarter.
I'll
quarter
read
million
one
dollars
page
to
out
charity.
of the
Oh,
Harry
no.
Potter book. Any Harry Potter book that you're choosing, I'll read one page out
Hold
of
on,
it.
where's
If
my-
you
where's
can
my
name
inductance meter?
one millihenry reading off of any of those.
You know what we did before we went to get oysters?
What?
This is very exciting. This is something that's been sitting in my garage for a while, but I've been too scared to play with it. Remember I was talking about needing a high voltage buddy?
Right. The
We
6,000
turned
volts.
on the high voltage power supply.
yeah, it was cool.
Oh my god.
If you're ever getting rid of that, Will, just let me know. I'll take it for you.
Dude,
Oh my God.
it was busting like 6-inch sparks. It's like
Like,
so insane. They were like, and when you had it going across an object, we were getting like 8+ inch sparks. Like,
Yeah.
like literal like mini bolts of lightning coming out of this power supply. Holy crap.
8 inches is nothing to sneeze at.
Dude, I'm actually blown away. And then Kevin, oh my god, we got on the table and held on to the high voltage output, and then we grounded, we grounded the ground. We put the ground on the concrete, and so we're just like pumping electrons into Kevin.
And my hair is like,
We were using, so we had the high voltage screwed to a piece of wood, and then Kevin's
Uh-huh.
holding on the end of the wood. So like it turns out at those voltages, wood is just like a resistor.
Yeah.
And we filled Kevin up with electrons.
He just
wanted to do it.
He just wanted to.
Yeah.
Kevin just wanted to ride the lightning.
Kevin has way too much ADHD, like actually diagnosed and medicated ADHD to be playing with a high voltage power supply like that. Because like your brain is like jumping around, but the problem is the instant you make one mistake,
Yeah.
you got shocked good a couple of times. So
I
like,
figured
after
out
you
why I
turn
got
the-
shocked at the end.
Why?
It's because when you turned off the power supply, it like shorted the high voltage to ground. And since I was high voltage and I was holding onto the high voltage, it instantly connected me to
sucked
ground.
all the
So,
electrons out of you.
yeah,
Ooh.
it wasn't pleasant. I
Jeez.
liked my electrons where they were.
Way too many. Like, dude, there was one point where I'm like, I'm not even touching the high voltage, but I couldn't even touch the power supply to turn it off. It was shocking me. So I had
Oh,
to
yeah.
get like a piece of wood and flick the switch off.
That is.
I don't know. Where were they
Like he's
coming
trying to
from?
turn it
No
off, and I'm
idea.
up here like,
Literally no. Maybe they were bleeding off of Kevin into me or something, and I'm wearing rubber shoes. Like no idea.
Yeah, that's like when electricity just becomes like black magic. When you like you end up just having things that just don't like work well anymore in your brain.
Have you ever had wires hiss? The wires were hissing.
Which wires?
All the wires.
All the wires.
Because it's like all the sharp points. Dude, it's spraying electrons into the air. It's like a high pressure water line, just like
Just
little
little
pinholes
holes.
of electrons.
Yeah,
It's-
leaking
it's
everywhere.
Crazy. Like it's like
And this
So-
is to power an X-ray machine, right?
yeah.
So wait-
Oh, we did that too.
But wait, I want you to talk
it gets
about
so
that.
much worse.
But I
Yeah.
just have a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, just in your opinion, how qualified are you to be working with this power supply?
Well,
How qualified do you
compared to who?
Honestly, I would give us probably a higher score than most people would give us.
Yeah.
No,
Because
yeah, okay. I'm just asking how afraid, like,
What
you,
are
you
the-
don't
how
feel that
would
you're
you-
actually going to kill yourself with
No.
it, right? Yeah.
well, look,
There's always a chance.
There's a healthy fear of it.
Yeah, okay.
It's
No,
not like you
that
can
makes
get
sense.
qualified for it.
Kevin.
Right.
I'm
It's
sure
like-
there's a
it's
way
like
to get
saying-
qualified.
Okay, here's the thing. Like, how good of a sword fighter are you? Like, at the end of the day, like, if you're fighting someone with a sword, both of you are probably going to get stabbed at some point, right? Like, is that safe? No. We talked about this already. It's not safe, but, like,
Wait,
how...
I don't understand this metaphor.
Okay,
This-
imagine getting in a knife fight
Which
with somebody.
one? What's the electricity here? Who's the?
It's the
They are
danger, it's the
both
knife.
swords,
danger.
apparently.
So imagine you have to have. Okay, Alan, here we go. Okay, let me double
Okay.
down on my shitty metaphor. Imagine there's two guys with a knife each, and you're having a knife fight.
Okay. and-
Someone's gonna win, but you're both gonna lose.
But how does the electricity
okay.
lose? Is what Alan's asking.
what I'm saying is it's like
The
playing with
electricity
electricity
only
is like,
wins.
but there's like if you even like play with this power supply, you're already in the danger zone. Like no matter how good or qualified you are,
Yeah.
like there's a really high chance you're gonna hurt yourself. So it's like you have to be super careful. And that's why I say like a knife fight, like even if you win, there's still like a high probability you're gonna get stabbed. And like the power supply, if you want to play the game, you're probably gonna pay the price at some
You
point. whether
have
it's
to
getting
accept
mildly
the
shocked.
risk that you're gonna get
Right.
shocked.
You're
Like,
gonna
and
get
just have
shocked,
to
yeah.
like, just that's what you're gonna get shocked. So you
Right.
have to do everything you
Like-
can to not get shocked.
The fact that I was the one turning the machine on and off. Oh, it gets worse. Oh, never mind. And I was getting shocked, and I wasn't anywhere near the high voltage output.
I think you should talk about your X-ray experience.
Okay, so it gets even worse, right, Kevin?
Does
Remember
it?
what? Remember what Ben Krasnow got in trouble for?
No.
What did he
Yes.
get in trouble for? I didn't know that he ever got in trouble for.
He got in trouble for just busting off X-rays in his garage.
Oh, in
Were
trouble
people
by the
upset about
government.
that?
yeah, someone
Yep.
showed up.
Oh.
But he also was doing it like way more like long term for like a CT scan.
Yeah.
But
This was like a dental X-ray head. I think his was way
more
higher
powerful.
powered. Yeah.
Anyways, we were busting off X-rays in the garage. We were just trying to get it to work, and it took quite a bit of finessing to actually get X-rays to come out of it.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like an old X-ray machine, right? Like,
Yeah,
I
so
could
the
definitely
dental head was like
imagine.
filled with oil, and it had the high voltage power supply on the inside. So we completely we just threw away the high voltage circuit in there, and then just hooked it directly up to the high voltage supply. And there's so you have high voltage on both ends of the tube, the X-ray tube. And then on one end, you also have the filament supply. So the filament supply is like on the ground side of the high voltage. So, but you know, like even though it's ground, like you're still messing around with.
Does it
What-
work
ground
kind of
is
like
relative.
like a microwave magnetron? Like, is there a filament that you heat up and
Yeah.
then you're just like shooting
Correct.
like things
So,
off? of
so the high
filament?
voltage is like the gas, and then the filament is sort of like the pedal.
Okay.
So you're essentially trying to control how many electrons are coming off the filament to be propelled by the high voltage into a piece of tungsten or something. There's a couple metals, I think.
Right.
And then the tungsten is literally at a 45-degree angle, and so when the electrons hit it, they shoot out the side of the tube as X-rays. So like that electrons hit the tungsten, convert into X-rays, and because of like mirrors,
Yeah.
it bounces off at a 45-degree angle.
That's actually really cool.
It's really
That's
cool. So
Like,
they come out the side of the tube.
that's like that kind of like old-fashioned science that's just like very easy to like visualize and understand. It's like, yeah, it's a 45-degree mirror and it bounces off.
Right.
Like if you look
right?
at like integrated like any modern day like circuit board, like if you open up your phone, it just all looks like nonsense.
Right. Yeah.
Like I like that old
Like
stuff
the
where it's
physical
like,
aspect too, where it's like,
yeah.
oh, I can see here that the electrons or the X-rays come out literally right here. Like you can see where the X-rays come out.
And you got it to work.
So we got it to work, and it was very tricky. You need two power supplies. So you have like a cheap power supply that's providing current to the filament,
Right.
And then you have the high voltage supply. But the problem is the high voltage supply can only do 2 milliamps at 60,000 volts. And
I
so
mean,
you
that's a lot.
It's a lot, but the tubes can use like 10 milliamps, and you can buy a more expensive power supply, but this was already like $400 for like a beat to hell like college power supply from some college lab somewhere. So we had to like figure out like how to like you get the current, like the filament current, you got to like turn it up slowly, and then it starts glowing orange, and then all of a sudden things start glowing like. I don't even know.
Other
There's all sorts of colors coming out of it.
That
like
colors
green
you
and-
literally
I don't-
can't see.
You guys sound very
X-ray
qualified.
colors.
Dude, the manual. What did the manual say, Kevin? It was like,
Do not do this.
Oh, yeah.
Basically,
No.
The manual is just like, do not
It's
attempt
really.
any
It's
of
one of
this.
those things where
If you have to be reading this manual right now, do not do any of the things in this manual.
it's almost worse than that. It's like actually worse than that. It says, I got it right here. Since X-ray tubes will emit X-rays when it is energized with high voltage, special knowledge is required to handle it.
It just doesn't tell you what the knowledge is. It's just like you just have to know it. We're not going to tell you here. You just have to know it. That's kind of the best warning you could do, probably.
It's just one of those things. If you don't know, it just tells you that
Then-
you're not qualified.
Yeah.
It's a very
Will said
easy
just-
way to find out.
Will says just reading the manual like probably makes you qualified though. You know?
Right.
Oh,
Like,
that's a
Or like
really
no one's
actively-
gonna be trying to make X-rays without like
Right.
knowing what
Okay.
they're doing.
Is someone who
Hey,
isn't
Kevin.
qualified to deal with X-rays going to go out of their way to buy an X-ray tube on eBay?
I would
Yeah.
say
you.
yes.
Well, he had like dosimeters, so we knew what dose
Yeah, we had
were
two. We
getting.
had a personal dose meter.
Okay.
We had a normal Geiger counter, like I don't know, it's that really popular one. that
Does an
people-
X-ray set off a Geiger counter?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Does-
didn't know
Oh, it
that.
makes
So
them
the-
really mad.
Oh.
over a certain level.
Okay, yeah.
So it keeps going. We bought, or I bought all this stuff like a year ago too. I've just been too afraid to do it until Kevin was here. We bought
Let Kevin
a
sacrifice
phos-
himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's just there's something nice about having like
You go down
two
together.
people who kind of exactly. It's like you kind of know what's going on.
Well, it's like
together.
you really want one person that you like really truly believe is gonna be okay if if someone's hand explodes,
Right.
you probably you want someone who you're like pretty sure is gonna be able to handle
Or-
that.
Right.
Like just be able to like call 911 and
Calmly
like
and collectively.
calmly like put like
You'd be
pressure on your
calling
knob.
the morgue.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
even go to the
Just
911. Right? Just
directly.
call the hearse.
Hello, is this the morgue? Yeah, we've got one.
dead body.
We've got someone who's very soon to be a dead body.
Wait,
Oh, they're a dead body now. Yeah, just come over.
I understand what you mean though. It's when somebody is reassuring you and you feel like they're somewhat competent. It makes you even if
Right.
you know that they don't exactly know, it still does make you feel more confident in
Yeah.
yourself and the situation.
I think just having like a second set of
yeah,
eyes.
yeah.
Because like even like Kevin would
Definitely.
get real handsy with it. I mean, well, I mean this isn't in the video, but like when we were playing with like the high voltage capacitors with Kevin and his friends in Florida, it's like you just like you can't see it, and so like at one point someone got like too close and we're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you
Yeah.
doing? What are you doing? And they didn't realize it had been charged up. And so it's like 15,000 volts sitting on these caps, and like someone was getting closer than they should have to it, and
a
it's
little
like
handsy with
we're
it.
watching exactly. So we're watching, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
that's
Those are
true.
charged up, and they're just like, you see what I'm saying? Where it's like, it's hard to see stuff sometimes unless you have this like really
Well-
intricately designed, safety like
Yeah.
interlock setup, which just I mean really like
Well, having another set
nobody does that.
having another set of eyes definitely does that because I know there's been a couple accidents that I've had that as the accident is occurring, you're just thinking in your head like, why is this happening? How could I be this?
Right.
How could I be this stupid? And it's funny because it's happened to multiple people I know who are in chemistry. You do a distillation, a really, really, really hot one, like 300 C. Then you turn everything off.
Wow.
You take the heating mantle, you take everything away, and then you come back and you just try to take the apparatus apart and you just grab the flask. You can't see it's hot, right? But you somehow are in like the mindset of I'm cleaning up, this thing's done. And I just grabbed the flask. And the moment I did that, I'm like, why did I do that? I just heated it up to like
Right.
300 C. But if I had someone working with me and I looked like I was even remotely going to touch it, they'd probably scream at
they
me.
would yell at you. There's a lot of crossover between electricity and chemistry. I feel like from like an intuition standpoint, where it's very hard to have like intuition about something that you can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the one, for whatever reason, the thing that taught me the best to just not touch things so much was learning to weld, because that is like that's the situation where so many things around you suddenly become very, very hot, and it's not always apparent. And I think it was like I didn't touch like more than like one or two very hot pieces of metal before I learned to just like, all right, I'm gonna assume everything in this garage is very, very hot right now, even if it doesn't make sense. I'm just going to pretend that everything is very hot, and then you just put your hand, the back of your hand over it right before you grab it, like for everything. You're like, yeah, okay, that's
I
good.
remember when I worked in a shop, they had these special wax pens where they would melt at different temperatures.
Oh.
I don't remember exactly why or what, but that would help.
But if you mark
like, if you
it, it
wanted
would
to touch
solidify
stuff.
once. You know what I mean? Like
I think it may have been.
you can
something
visually
like that. I
see
don't
what
really
temperature
remember.
it is.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right.
I know-
But also, it's pretty easy to just like to kind of like waft your hand over it, like
Yeah,
without-
yeah.
What has actually saved me a lot is, I mean, I guess it's technically called hyperhidrosis. My hands just tend to sweat a lot.
Mine do too.
So, but the thing is, especially when I'm wearing gloves. So if I take the gloves off, or just in general, I've touched hot things, but if your hands sweat a little bit and you touch the hot thing, it boils the moisture off your fingers and you don't get burnt. But I've touched
You get the Leidenfrost
I've touched hot
effect.
things before, and you hear
I-
hear
there's-
psst, and I was like, oh god, but you don't get
Yeah.
burnt.
There's definitely like a threshold where it makes it worse. Like the lower the hot temperature is, then the water will conduct
Yes,
better.
no, I'm
Like,
saying it
will
only
conduct
works
the
when
heat.
it's really hot. When there's this, it's
Yeah.
when it's hot but not super hot, it's worse.
I would say like most of the time you burn yourself, it's probably in the worst zone.
Yeah.
Like 200, 300 degrees, where it's like.
Did you and Kevin like end up shooting anything with X-rays?
Yeah, we yep.
Oh, okay. That's
Do you
not
have a
gonna talk
do you have a
about that one
phosphor
then.
plate?
Yeah,
Okay,
so we
yeah.
bought the phosphorus, the development or the exposure screen. So they used to take like sheets of film, regular film, put it in between two pieces of this phosphor exposing film, whatever they call it. It glows blue and X-rays pass through it, basically.
Okay.
You can get green ones too. Not that it matters.
I just gotta
And-
shout out my own video. I think it's made out of zinc sulfide, and I made that before.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
self
awesome.
shout out.
Oh.
So the green one's copper, and the blue one is, I want to say silver, but I don't think so. Maybe it is.
Is there? What's the difference? Like, is one higher performing than the other, or?
I don't know. It might not even be
I know
zinc
that with glow
sulfide, but
powder,
I think
green-
it is. It's the classic zinc sulfide, like glow in the dark toy stuff. They just paint on it as a paint. That's what I think.
But it doesn't
I could be
glow.
totally wrong. Oh, it doesn't glow at all.
It's like no.
It might be. It's
No, it
probably
glows.
a
I mean,
higher.
it-
it
like,
glows.
it might be a higher
fluoresces, but
performing
it
thing.
doesn't.
Is it even fluorescence though? I think. Is it? I guess.
Yeah, it's
is that
fluorescence, but not
It is
phosphorescence.
I
Yeah,
just
maybe it's
assumed
some other
it was like
modern, better
developing
version.
regular film.
Sorry,
So
I'll look it up.
I thought it was
I'll
like
look it up.
film, like an old timey film camera, except you were exposing it with X-rays and
you
not regular
are,
light.
but the X-rays are. It's still being exposed with visible light. The visible light's generated by the film.
Like the X-ray
Huh.
doesn't interact with the film. It hits this
Right.
like screen that lights up.
It's like
and
a,
that's-
it's like
Oh,
a
and
sheet of
then
paper. It's like a kind of
the
waxy paper.
Green is what
Yes.
actually
the
develops
screen
the
fluoresces the color blue dependent on how many X-rays are passing through it. Like it
That-
gets like brighter or
huh.
darker, and then that light is what's exposing the film.
They might use
that's
a
cool. I
better
didn't know that.
thing now than zinc sulfide.
I don't think they do that.
So, but
actually,
zinc sulfide selenium X-ray detector. It was the classic thing.
maybe.
Like with zinc sulfide and copper, or zinc sulfide and silver were just the old timey ways to detect radiation. It's how they made the radium paint.
interesting.
So you just mix it. That's what I want to do. It's a dream, but I don't think I'll ever do it. I need to get something radioactive enough to make it glow, to make a glow toy glow on its own.
God. Well, anyways, we got 4 soda cans, and we stuck them on top of the film.
Okay.
The fluorescing film. And then on top of the soda cans, we stuck a piece of acrylic, and then we started putting stuff on top of the acrylic so that the X-rays would shine through the thing, through the acrylic, and then cast, with shadows of the object on the fluorescing screen.
So
Did
was
it
the
work?
soda cans just like the correct spacer?
no,
Like,
we
it
just
was
need something to prop the acrylic
just-
up.
It's just arbitrary.
And we had a bunch of like seltzer cans, and then it's still set up in the garage right now. We'll look at it after this. And then we just started busting X-rays, and we usually get like a second of X-rays out for some reason. Like the instant we would get current going through the tube, it would like the voltage would drop, and so the power supply couldn't keep up anymore. So like
Right.
we have to like somehow figure out how to get like a spike of current to get the X-rays started.
Yeah.
And then like
drop
dial
it down a
back
little
the
bit.
filament.
Right.
Huh.
To get it to like where it's continuous. So it's like a nice happy output.
That's
Did you
so
get an image
analog.
though? You
That's
got
like-
something?
Oh, so we x-rayed Kevin's phone while it was recording video. And so you can see the whole guts of the cell phone.
Yeah.
And then you can see all the static on his video recording. So it's like the poor sensor is just
Getting
being like
just-
absolutely blasted with x-rays. It's just white pixels
annihilated.
everywhere.
Oh my god, that's really cool.
And then we stuck the dose meter under it. And very angry. I'm not even sure the dose meter could like measure the dose at that point. You think it's like
It was
too
just
saturated?
reaching.
Maxed out.
It's like, yeah, it goes, and then it just the alarm starts going off. Like,
Did you try putting a spider in there and then letting it bite you?
no, we didn't do that. And then we stuck
Somebody's foot.
Morgan's foot in it,
The foot that has all the hardware in
Yeah.
it. Oh, that's
Yep.
cool.
and then so we x-rayed some bones.
So my question is, how legal is that?
I have literally no idea.
There can't be a law against
So
that.
I
I
don't
think
What's-
For legal reasons, this was all hypothetical. What we just talked about.
so.
Right.
Maybe if it's not for I think in Canada you're not allowed operating anything that produces X-rays without some sort of license.
But everything, like, there's a chance that you're making x-rays on accident when you're doing certain things.
Okay, but a device that's meant to produce X-rays.
Actually,
Oh.
isn't there?
That's Canada. That's not.
wasn't
That's
there
not
something
like
where
the U.S. or anything. So.
I thought there was research where somebody figured out that like just peeling apart tape.
Oh yeah, Scotch
makes
tape or
X-rays
something.
Yeah. Yeah. Could you
Get
is that something
arrested
you'd
for
actually- Is
it.
it enough?
You get arrested for
Well, I
a
was gonna
device that just
say,
like burns through a roll
yeah,
of tape really
is there
quickly.
enough that comes out where if you like put it on like a drill or something and just like unrolled it really fast, like would
I think
it?
there's a
you
device.
have
I
to
think
be.
Ben Krasnow.
It has to be under
there
a
are. It's
vacuum.
X-ray.
That's what makes it a bit harder.
Metal
Oh,
tester that does
okay.
that.
Yeah, I think there is one where it literally does. It has that exact technique for generating X-rays in some sort of like instrument. I'm pretty sure Ben Krasnow.
So if it's in a vacuum,
he
you
did a
could
video on
actually like develop the phosphor thing just with Scotch tape.
Probably, yeah.
And so
I
it's
don't
like,
know.
well, at that point, is that illegal? Would
Right.
that really be illegal?
So
I don't
here
know.
is the thing. Here's the thing. It sounds scary, right?
No, it doesn't.
Well, I
It
brought
doesn't.
the Geiger counter with me on the airplane.
Oh, and you got.
And the Geiger counter was counting significantly higher radiation at
Right.
altitude than anywhere in the garage when we were blasting X-rays.
Yeah,
out.
you're just literally closer
Yeah.
to space at
So
that point.
basically, I feel so much better about what we were doing in the garage because
Yeah.
just getting on an airplane is an obscene amount of radiation exposure compared to what we were doing in there.
I think there are slightly
think-
higher cancer rates for like stewardesses and
travelers.
pilots
Yeah.
and people who like spend a lot of time in the air because it
it's
is
a
like
lot, dude. Like I'm not joking. The alarm on the Geiger counter was going off at altitude in the plane. I actually had
Yeah.
to turn all the noises off because the people around me were starting to
I
like, what
think
the hell is this
something's
guy doing?
something's going on.
Yeah.
The funny thing is,
According
though,
to
you're
the
not
X-ray
doing anything. You're
dosimeter?
just
Right.
revealing what is happening
Exactly.
all
But
around
people
them.
like to be oblivious to like everything. They just want their chicken nuggies and their Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, and their gallons of milk.
Exactly.
And they're talking
It's
about
shower milk.
Just
Their
simple
shower
needs,
milk.
man.
like it's like I don't like that we kill chickens. We shouldn't kill chickens, and then they go get chicken nuggies.
Wait, Kevin, you're gonna say something?
That
I was gonna say, according to the dosimeter we used, it was like 3 or 4 times normal background dose that we got for that night.
Yeah.
So like we got
And that was
like 2 days
including
worth
putting
of
the
extra
dosimeter
days, man.
in the line of fire.
Yeah, so it's not a big deal, but the plane was like
The
probably
plane was way more than I thought it was gonna
Well, I
be.
mean,
I
yeah.
think the peak.
Yeah, what's kind of funny is I think Colorado is pretty radioactive.
just generally.
Yeah, because
just the
that's- I
entire
mean, that's
state.
where
well, like the granite.
There's
the rocks.
uranium. I think they have a lot of uranium. All I know is if you buy uranium ore, a lot of it comes from Colorado. But if you look up the background radiation, I think it varies. If you have it in like CPM, it can go from like 6 to 25 depending on where you are. So it's like you can
just
Like
being
here in Florida,
Colorado.
it's 22.
I think
Just in my
there are just some places that have
'Cause we
really
have a lot of
low
stuff,
and then
too.
some that are higher average. So it's like you can double your background radiation just by moving somewhere. But that doesn't mean anything,
yeah,
right?
here it was 22, and then Massachusetts it was 8 CPM.
So it's just like, so you're saying you got double like extra days, but it's like if you just move somewhere else, you could get double all the time.
Yeah,
Right.
So it's just kind
So,
of not really.
that's a lot of bang for your buck.
Here's the thing that says like an article that says the background radiation is 0.05 to 0.2 microsieverts per hour. I think that we ended up like the dose meter we were detecting like it was like only a couple microsieverts.
I think it was, yeah, it was like maybe
Was it even one?
Maybe
And then
one.
the airplane, oh man, the airplane, I think I was seeing like 200 counts per second. Like it was really high on the airplane. I don't exactly know the conversion to, I have a recording of it. I could look at it, but it's not important.
Dude,
right now.
radiation conversion is the most like
It's ridiculous.
It's like
Yeah.
it's all it is
There's
like
like
it's a bunch
30
of
different
analogies.
units.
It's like
where it's
pressure.
this is equivalent to this, and this is equivalent. So like Kevin and I were like, okay, well, what is like a chest X-ray equivalent to? And it was like this many days of background radiation. Like, okay, what's background radiation? So it's like we're trying to do
Well,
all these conversions, like using complete
'cause
like BS.
the-
I mean, it's weird because it's like it's just like a bunch of particles shooting out of a
Yeah.
thing, right? I almost feel like the equivalent would be like trying to measure like how much basketball has happened in a
Right.
court.
But the harder
like,
part,
how would you count that?
the harder part, Alan, is that alpha is not equal to
Three
beta.
basketball.
yeah, like,
Like the hardest part
like
is
you
all
do
the
it like
particles
per
are
game
equal.
time, per bounces, like.
So like one X-ray hitting you is not nearly as bad as like an alpha hitting you. So that's what the sieverts are for, right?
It also it probably depends too
Yeah, if
on
it's, like, absorbed
what
dose versus,
percent of
like-
your body. Yeah, right. So if if doing a chest X-ray, you're getting way more like
But-
X-rays or more
I'm
radiation
saying,
going
like,
through more area.
CPM is just straight up particles that are detected, but
Right.
it doesn't account for how dangerous they are. That's like the big.
Correct.
That's why it's not like a super. You could go, oh, it's 10 CPM, but that's worse if it's X-rays versus alpha. So like, what,
Okay, Kev, we were literally just trying to figure out how bad we were being.
no, it's really hard.
And
It's
there was-
really surprisingly hard.
Yeah.
And then it's like alpha
Like-
is the least dangerous to be around, but it's the worst to ingest. One of the worst.
There's not even a clear like distinction between like X-rays versus like radioactive radiation.
What does that mean?
Like what's the difference between like an alpha ray and an X-ray or a gamma ray and an X-ray?
Isn't it just energy?
So the alpha
energy
is
in each
higher
particle?
energy.
The gamma's higher energy, so it has much better penetrating power, but alpha actually is more damaging because it has much more mass.
But so then
It's like an
where
actual
does an X-ray
particle.
stand with
Sorry?
that? Because X-ray will
So
penetrate through
X-ray
you.
is light and alpha is a particle. Well, I mean, don't need to get into
Well, it's all the
yeah,
same.
I'm saying,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
the thing
it's
is,
all the
alpha is equivalent, I think, to a helium atom. It's
Okay,
pretty
so
big.
what would you rather get hit with?
On your
X-rays or
on
I think no
if
betas.
it's, if it's
I don't remember.
I don't remember. I always forget, but it's like
Yeah, me too.
if an alpha can't go through your skin, but if you ingest an alpha, it's one of the worst because it just destroys the tissue around it.
That's how they
Okay.
poisoned that
Yeah,
guy
that's
in
why I think it
Russia.
was the high alpha emitters are better poisons. But if you can handle them and they don't do anything,
Oh.
well, not they don't do anything. They're just
So
not
what-
nearly
You
as
learned.
bad.
so they didn't poison him literally. They didn't feed him alpha radiation. They fed him something that's
Like or
generating alpha
polonium or
radiation.
something. That just
Right.
dumps
Or underwear. Was it
radiation.
underwear or something?
like
I-
microgram or something like
It's
that.
ridiculous. Yeah, it's crazy small.
That was a neurotoxin, or is it?
I mean,
is it
this
the
was a
same thing?
long time ago. Well,
Oh,
not
something
like
This
we're
was
not recent.
Alexander.
Yeah, I think-
Oh, that's not the
Yeah.
new one.
I think
Okay.
Russia killed a couple of people
Wow.
in different
mean-
ways.
Very nice.
But yeah, generally, if it's outside of you, X-rays are worse. But if it's inside you, alpha is worse. Actually, I think a better thing
You
is
need to take
just
the X-ray tube out of your butt.
if you put radiation, just don't. Radiation inside of you is generally bad.
Is it-
Radiation
is it-
outside
I
of you
feel
is
like
also
there's-
bad.
Seems like a really good place to end everything. We have to go play soccer
Yeah.
now. All right. Thanks for watching,
All
and
right.
thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Among Us memes. Remember, if you like memes, you'll love Among Us memes. Among Us memes are personally my favorite meme. You can find plenty of them if you just go to Google and type in Among Us memes. So thank you, and you get 50% off your first meme.
I like the astronaut
If you
one
use the
for-
code
with theirs.
NileRed, also loves Among Us memes.
Yes.
I like the big booty mungus memes. Those
the-
are my favorite. They have made my life noticeably better.
Bye.